Hello.
And Bob Reinhardt and Michael Bugda. Hi.
Hi.
Great.
Maria with us, or is that?
Yep, Maria's here.
Great. Welcome, Maria. I think are we expecting Janet?
I believe so.
I think so. Bob O'Connor said he may join us late. He's down in DC.
He emailed me today and indicated that he would likely not be available before 8 o'clock, and
Right. And with any luck,
we'll be done by then because you have a fairly light agenda.
I don't want to jinx it by saying anything. Should we go ahead and, oh, there we are. Janet, hi, welcome.
Sorry, it wasn't letting me in.
I know I had a little trouble too. Not sure what was going on.
Are you guys enjoying this weather?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order then. So I'd like to call the meeting of Thursday, April 20th, 2023, Madison Planning and Zoning Commission to order. We don't have any public hearings tonight, so you're spared of my usual reading of how that works. And I'd like to seat Michael Bugda to replace a vacancy, or to fill a vacancy, if that's okay with you, Michael, so you can vote with us.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
We have two pending applications that need action. So I think, Erin, is there anything else you need to read or report?
No, there are no public hearings, so we have no legal notice for this
So
evening.
we can jump right in. Okay, so our first agenda item is 23-09, 155 Overshores Drive West, map 14, lot 10, R4 district. And this is a coastal site plan review for an extension of an existing concrete knee wall along a driveway. It's right on the water. Do we have applicants here or anyone?
Yes,
to present?
I believe Azure is here.
Great.
I'll promote to a panelist. There she is. Hi,
Good
how are
evening.
you?
Good, how are
Hi,
you?
Azure. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Azure D. Sleicher, principal with Race Coastal Engineering and the applicant's consultant. So we were here before you guys probably about a year ago to do seawall repairs, and I'd say the first 25 feet of this knee wall, which is basically, it's almost like it's a large curb that separates the beach from the driveway in the area. And if I can share my screen.
Yes, you can, sure.
This one, let's see. So so now we have the aerial photo of the site, and this is a great one actually because it shows the problem. So the seawall was repaired last year, and this knee wall we're calling is this wall that separates the beach from the driveway, and 25 feet was constructed last year or over the summer, along with the seawall repairs. And the storm activity from this winter demonstrated that the 25 feet simply wasn't long enough. And this photo is great because it actually shows all sand that washes up into the driveway on a very frequent basis with these storms. And so the owner would like to simply extend that 2-foot high wall that separates the driveway from the beach area, another 46 feet approximately down the length of the driveway here. Not the entire driveway, just another 46 feet. And so very simple, 2-foot high, 46-foot long wall just along the edge of the driveway there.
What's the full length of the driveway?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. Let's see. It's about 113.
Okay.
And we're seeking, I believe, say from probably about that length.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just actually, and again, just you can see just that sand there. Hopefully, it comes through on the video.
Yeah,
there.
It did.
And is that a gravel driveway?
It is a paver, stone paver.
Stone pavers. And also, where's the property line? Is that the property line or?
It is essentially the property line as well.
Right, okay. I was just wondering, I think we had with the last time you were before us, we had made sure that you planted grass or kept the seagrass in place. And I think that's a good effort as well to try to control some of that. I know we did have really bad storms this winter though. And like if you go further down to Circle Beach, you would have seen sand dunes in the road.
So
Yeah,
as you're-
the applicant suffered severe damage too over on the dune area that covers a septic system on the other side of the property again during these storms. So yeah, it was a pretty severe winter in this area.
we went out and took a photo of the grasses, and that was one of, as Carol mentioned, that was one of the concerns, just, flagging them and demarking, the area so that they weren't disturbed during the rest of the seawall project. I know this is not really adjacent to the expansion, but that was when we referred this to DEEP, that was one of their other suggestions, was to keep those conditions in place with this round as well, to allow those grasses to regrow. And actually the photos that I have show even more coverage than this aerial. I don't know what the date of this one is, but they're looking like they are coming back a little bit, which is good.
Okay.
And then the last thing I guess we would just point out is that we did receive a copy of the NOV for the COP that was issued for the seawall construction. Can you speak to the status of that at all, or has a new application been made?
Yes, a new application has been filed. So the contractor during the seawall repairs along the edge of the house, the patio there, was a little overzealous. And the deep conditions for the oversheeting of the seawall repair were to be within 18 inches. And there were areas where, for numerous constructability reasons, he exceeded 18 inches, but without notifying DEEP in advance. And so during our as-built survey and post-construction certification, we brought that to DEEP's attention, and they were willing to work with the owner to resolve it in a way that obviously they weren't going to make him rip it out at this point, because that would be extremely detrimental to the property and to the environment at this point. It's, sheet pile backfilled with concrete. But to uphold the integrity of the COP process, which has limits on, what is eligible under a COP versus a structures dredging and fill permit, they made the applicant submit a structure dredging and fill to bring into compliance the nonconformity and the over extension of the 18 inches with a 4 times the fee penalty. So with a financial penalty on top of that. And so that application has been submitted and it's just pending review with DEEP.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem.
So I
Any
had
other
two questions. The first one was regarding that, I guess it was the inability to achieve the requirements that were in the first one regarding the seagrass. Is there a similar risk with this extension of the wall?
No, and the area where the digression was not where seagrasses are located. It was driving sheet piles around the outer edge of the patio in the beach area. And so there were some issues with keeping sheet piles in alignment and obstructions, once they got subsurface. So those types of issues will not be encountered up here while they're actually just forming concrete in place in the dry, with handheld equipment and so forth. So this area here is much easier to construct.
Has there been any kind of, or is it required, excuse me, any kind of assessment on the impact of the neighbor? Because it looks like the sand's now going to pile on the neighbor side instead of going free. Are they aware of that? Is there an assessment needed to I'm new, so I ask silly questions. But if I live there, I'd want to know what's going on to make sure it doesn't impact me negatively. So has that been done? Or is that required?
There's been no assessment. The neighbors are aware. They were notified as part of this application process. But and the two neighbors are amicable. So which is a good thing. Not often do we have that with waterfront neighbors, but they are friendly. And so he is aware, but I don't foresee any adverse impacts. The sand will remain. If it doesn't go into the driveway, it'll remain in this beachy, sandy, wetland area where hopefully, it should stay.
Okay.
It looks like it is the neighbor's sand, actually, if you wanted.
Well,
Technically, yes. we can keep it on there. Yeah, the property line essentially is right up the edge of the
That's
driveway.
why
here,
I
so it'll-
asked, because I was, yeah.
And that property
keep
is
the
all-
sand where it wants to be and not in the driveway, which makes it extremely difficult with the pavers to, get it back out off the driveway.
Yeah.
And the house that's to the left is the owner of that property up to the driveway.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no zoning requirement for a setback for a stone wall of this size, or, a wall of this size, or notification of abutters for that,
So it's like a fence.
this scale. Yes. Yeah. If it were a larger retaining wall, then there would be other requirements, but not in this case.
Any other questions? Are we ready to make a motion? If there's no further discussion or questions, especially questions for Azure?
Not for me.
I think the more grass you plant, the better.
Sure. And we're happy to have you include any of those conditions in the permit.
Thanks.
So we have staff notes and recommendation. If I could have a motion to approve.
I'll give you the
And,
motion.
maybe,
I
Thank
can
you.
share those if you.
Yeah, if you
want
could put
to
those
see
up,
them
that'd
on
be
the
great.
screen. I just have to swap.
Yes,
with
I will.
Azure.
I will stop. Yep.
Yeah.
so John, I think you made the motion to approve.
I did.
Michael Bugda did, sorry, thank you. John, did you second? I have
I
saw a couple.
yeah, I guess I did. I was a little slow.
That's okay. It's any further discussion? Did everyone have a chance to read over the staff recommendation, staff notes?
I did.
Yes, it
These are essentially the same conditions as the first approval. The only additional is number 2, which was a recommendation from DEEP as far as if ENS control soil and sedimentation controls are necessary, that those be installed.
So would someone like to go ahead and read it for us?
Oh, it's just this section here.
I can do it. Do we have read the whole thing or just the draft?
Oh, just here. I was just giving you some background on the previous application, but Azure already did that, so I don't think we need to read through the entire staff report. This is just the motion here.
Okay, so voted that the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approve application number 23-09, 155 Overshores Drive West, map 14, lot 10, R-4, owner Scott J. Taylor and Cynthia A. Taylor. Applicant Race Engineering, Inc. Coast site plan approved for proposed 46-foot extension to existing concrete knee wall, flood and erosion control structure as shown in application and supporting documentation dated received March 7th, 2022, with the following conditions. That prior to the commencement of work, the
Well,
applicant.
that
shall
should say
flag-
March 23. I'm sorry. That's an
Okay,
error.
I was gonna ask that. Okay,
I apologize.
2023.
There you go.
March 7th, 2023, with the following conditions. That prior to the commencement of work, the applicant shall flag the perimeter of the dune vegetation shown on drawings numbers 4 and 5 of 9, so as to be readily identifiable by contractor personnel until the work authorized in this approval is completed. No work shall take place, nor shall equipment be stored in or staged within dune vegetation. The applicant shall install and maintain adequate soil and erosion control measures during construction activities and until the site is stabilized. And number 3, that the area of dune vegetation be left undisturbed to allow the grass to reestablish itself in order to protect the dune.
Thank you, John. I think we can go ahead and vote unless there's further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Looks unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Thanks, Azure.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You
You
too.
too.
All right, next item is 23-14, 131 Cottage Road, map 31, lot 25, T-zone. This is Cottage Road Development Partners LLC. Applicant is the Caleb Foundation, and it's a site plan review modification to add dumpster locations, amend parking and the community center building. So do we have, I see Michael Harkin coming on board.
I think most of our guests are associated with this application. Do you want, Carla, do you want everybody over as panelists? Is everyone going to talk or just?
Don't need everybody over as panelists, just some of our board members who are Madison residents are also in attendance, just for the board. And then, so Michael and Dave Wagner will need to be able to talk as well, so.
Yes, they're here. Just holler if any, or anybody can raise their hand if they need to be moved over.
Sure.
And you all have the ability to screen share
Oh, great.
plans. You're prepared to do that. Otherwise I can pull them up.
Okay, so Michael and Dave are going to present our set. I'm just going to do a very quick intro. Carla Lindquist, I'm here representing Cottage Road Development Partners, which is an LLC comprised of Hope Partnership. We're a local Madison nonprofit. And then the Caleb Group, as noted in the intro. We're here before you after having been in front of this body many years ago, but we're back to sort of get through our final push with some minor modifications to our site plan. This is actually my third meeting in front of a Madison town body in the past week, so I'm happy to meet all of you. Aaron's getting sick of looking at me, you know, we're just really excited about this project, and I'll hand it over to Michael to just go through the changes to the civil set.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. For the record, my name is Michael Harkin. I'm a professional engineer and principal of Harkin Engineering, located at 78 Wolf Hollow Lane in the town of Killingworth, Connecticut. Again, here tonight on behalf of Hope Partnership and the Caleb Group for the project Wellington that is located at Cottage Road. I've been the lead engineer on this since the beginning, I believe 2014, with all the revisions, all the past and previous ownership. So we pretty much know this site inside and out. So really the modifications are minor, and I'll go through them on our plan set and our site plan. And they basically came based upon when the team was putting together the application for funding. So there's some minor changes that were done during the funding process. And the reason that we're here tonight is subsequently the plans were submitted to Aaron, and Aaron did a pretty thorough review of the project plans, both the architectural and the site plan, and just getting things to jive because the architectural plans were updated for the funding aspect. Some of those items weren't carried on to the site plan because obviously the site plan came first prior to the funding. So we have subsequently made those revisions, and we're here to present them tonight. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Just give me a sec. Go find.
Hmm.
Takes a little bit of time in the country. Everybody see the site plan?
Yes,
Okay. So basically, we're going to start with the community building that you see here, where my cursor is. That community building was originally a common area where refuse and recycling was being held, as well as kayak storage. You may remember that, some of you, from the last application. That has been converted over to a full community center now for the residents. Because it's been converted to a full community center, we needed locations to move the refuge and recycling because we no longer had an area for it. So as part of this application and modification, we added one area directly adjacent to the community center where you can see my cursor. And then we added the second over in the location that I have shown. Again, this will be for garbage and recycling. And we basically put turning radiuses on there to make sure that the garbage trucks can access and pick those up. They will be screened. They will have a screening and fencing around them. In these instances where the dumpster locations are proposed, there used to be parking in those areas. So subsequently, we had to redo some parking in order to achieve the same amount of parking that we had prior to putting in those dumpster locations. So we revised the parking to this shaded area. We lost 2 spots over here, so we gained 2 spots. And then subsequently in this area, we lost 2 spots, but we gained some spots in this area. So the next thing that was added to the plan was this little area in here, which was a concrete pad area, sort of patio. As part of the funding process, this was switched over to a bike storage area. Again, because this is an affordable project, we wanted to give the residents an area where they can basically store their bikes and then be able to commute around the town of Madison, if they so choose. In regards to that, we also started changing some of the interior sidewalks just to give some better pedestrian access. So we added this sidewalk where my cursor is in order to thoroughly come over and easily get to the centralized mailbox location. We also, because this building was changed a little bit architecturally, they had some doors added and some apartments. So we made sure that all the sidewalks are linked up where the doors are so we can get some access points instead of just discharging to a grass area. So there's sidewalks all the way around. We also put a sidewalk all the way around the community building. And then what we did in this area is there was no handicap parking. Because this is a community center, we thought that we should add a handicap parking space directly adjacent to that community center. So basically, those are the minor revisions that we made to the plan. Nothing really majorly structurally. It has no effect on utilities, septic system. There's no more increase in impervious area. So again, all minor in nature. So with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to turn it over to Dave Wagner, who is the architect on the project, to go over some of the minor revisions that he did with the community center and that bike storage area. So Dave, take it away.
Good evening, everybody. For the record, I'm Dave Wagner from Shadler Sono Associates. I'm one of the architects involved with this project. If you'll let me, I'd like to share my screen, if I can. This is part of the application package that you guys already have. This is our proposed community building. As part of the funding and the tax credit money that was received, it's a competitive round of funding. We have to comply with the CHFA design and construction regulations and the DOH design and construction requirements for this project. So it included a community building, which we think is a great thing for this community. We tried to make the community building a similar barn type structure as was proposed for the recycle building. If you scroll that, well, those are the elevations of the building that we're proposing. If I scroll down here, I can show you what the community building is about. One of the requirements we have through our funding application and our energy sustainability requirement is we are actually LEED Platinum certifying this project. So as part of that, we have to have solar panels that power common areas, and I believe they have to power I think 100% of the common area requirements during certain times. So we needed to, we're showing the solar panels because it was all part of the LAHTC or low income housing tax credit money. If I can zoom in here a little bit, I can give you a little plan of the community building. It's a simple structure. It has 2 office spaces for administrative services, a vestibule, a public handicap accessible toilet, and a meeting room where we can bring the residents in here if we need to do that for any kind of communication that has to happen between administrative staff and the residents. They're also able to use this room as a community meeting space if they just want to get together and play cards or something like that, any kind of community activities. As Michael stated, I think really the only other plan change was the addition of the dumpsters rather than having a recycled building. And if I can scroll up here, way up, sorry, we provided some dumpster enclosures that are fully screened. I know that there was concern from the neighboring property. They didn't want to see dumpsters around there. So we have complete dumpster enclosures on there. This may not be the easiest way to scroll up to this. I apologize. Landscaping hasn't changed from what was originally approved. This is the existing building. Our intent is to make this building and the community building look similar. And here is the dumpster enclosures that we're proposing, where they're completely blocked off from all sides. They're openable for garbage pickup on the front side that Michael shows here, and on the side of the buildings there's if I can get in there, the side of the dumpster enclosure, there's an access point here. If you can see that, where the residents are in and out, and they can bring their garbage and stuff in there. The intent is to have the enclosure be closed except for garbage pickup. And I believe that's it. We really, from the existing approval, we didn't make a lot of changes to the exterior of any of the buildings because we were locked into the foundation footprints. The only thing that changed is the program requirements for the Caleb Group and the LAHTC tax credits, which some of the apartments would change. The number of bedrooms, I believe, was changed a little bit. But as far as the overall design concept, and it's the same as it was when it was approved a few years ago.
Could you show me again where the dumpsters in the back part of the property would be located along the fence? Okay, I don't remember.
This is in
It was next to the first building and the second building.
It's in between the first and the second.
Yeah, so if I can zoom in here for you, hang on 1 second. Oh, this is not the updated one. I apologize for that.
If you guys want, I can show my site plan.
That would be,
Yeah.
that
That'd
might
be good.
Michael, if you could share.
Yep, so why don't you get out of
Stop sharing.
Yep, and I'll go to share screen. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, I see it.
So the first dumpster location is where my cursor is. This is the
Okay.
existing building that we
Yeah.
had constructed about, I would say 6-7 years ago. So this
Okay.
is fully occupied. So there's the first one with the full enclosure. And then our second one is directly adjacent to the community center. And again, with the full enclosure.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have to add any lighting, or did the existing infrastructure was already sufficient?
Yeah, everything was sufficient. Those were the only the real changes that we had to make. And again, it was just to tweak in order to make them both the architectural plans and the engineering plans similar. So everybody's on the same page as far as when it gets constructed.
Okay, and for the solar panels on the community center, are you storing any of the energy, or are you only using it actively as it's generated?
At this point, I believe it's an active system. We don't have any provision for right now for storage. However, the Caleb Group and their consultant is working with a solar company So that may be an option. I'm not sure exactly where they are at this point.
All right, so you're just synchronizing with the electrical infrastructure of the area. And
Yes,
you're not doing any net metering, I assume then?
no,
Okay.
All right, guys, and just to make a note that it's not like we just made these revisions and didn't review them. These plans have been reviewed by Erin probably more times than she would want to have to review them. But I know that since they've been revised, I met with her twice just to make sure that we were covering all the bases and everything ran concurrently between the architectural plans and the site plans. So both are matching up and both are ready to go on and start construction again. So with that being said, I think that ends our presentation. And again, if anybody has any questions, I think as a group, we'd be happy to answer them for you.
I can follow up also, as Carla indicated in her introduction, she has been actively meeting with committees here over the last week. The first was last week. The group did present to ACA all the facade revisions and materials and talked about color, and they received a unanimous vote in favor of the modifications. So they did go through that process. And actually the second meeting that Carla had was meeting with our newly formed Affordable Housing Committee to discuss the process of nonprofit affordable housing developments and some of the challenges and success stories. So that was another, we're very thankful for Carla's time for that. The group was really appreciative. And this is, I believe, our first nonprofit affordable housing development in town. Did anybody, I know most of the committee or the commission was not here for the regional approvals. Did anyone have any questions specifically about what the development is so that you're not blindly just looking at buildings here, that you understand what this development is?
Any
How
questions?
many units is it total?
So it's going to be 31 total units. There are 4 existing right now, which are occupied. And so there are going to be 4 in the historic home that's existing. So we're really excited to keep that. And then there will be, the remainder will be a new build along the back of the property.
And Carla, can you speak to the affordability, what your breakdown is as far as market units and affordable units?
Sure. So there are going to be 7 market rate units, but the remainder, so 24 units, will be affordable, and those will be designated for families and individuals with income thresholds of 25%, 50%, and 60% of area median income. So that is deeply affordable. And so it'll be a really great addition to the housing stock that exists in Madison now.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
And you're in walking distance to Cohen Bagels. How about that?
I know. and Hammonasset, all these
And
great-
biking to Hammonasset, yeah.
Exactly.
And the new dog park.
And the new.
That's right.
And a new dog
And the
park.
new dog park, exactly.
The fence is going up today. I was out there today.
The true Madison experience.
Yes.
Living out
It is. It's very exciting. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
So
Great.
the original special exception, there were 2 special exceptions that are filed on the land records. There weren't conditions placed on the approvals. And this time, really the only things that I would recommend as a staff is notification of staff 48 hours prior to any site construction activities, and that during construction, adequate sedimentation and erosion control measures are maintained as needed during construction activities. Other than that, there was no other staff recommendations for this.
Yeah, and we don't have a problem with those conditions. Actually, we have an erosion control plan that details all those things to be installed. So, and again, we don't have any issues with that.
Great. Erin, do you want to put up the draft resolution if we could use that for a motion? And could I have a motion to approve as per the,
So moved.
that was Bob?
Yes.
Thanks. And a second?
I'll do the second.
Michael, thank you. Any further discussion? Would someone like to read it then so we can vote as written? It's not on my,
You can reference it if you'd like on this. That's fine too.
just reference it
Sure, as drafted.
as
Okay.
drafted. Okay, the resolution as drafted, great. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Approve?
Approved.
Aye.
Aye.
I think that was unanimous. Janet, did you approve? Sorry, my screen is having a little trouble navigating here. Great, okay. Thank you all.
All right, guys,
Looks
thank you
great.
so much.
you.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
great night.
Have a great night.
Appreciate it.
Good night. Bye-bye.
So next on the agenda is a request to table 23-05, 14 New Road, map 49, lot 26, the light industrial zone. This is Precision X-ray. They've, I guess, granted an extension, Erin, and so.
Yes. As a site plan approval, a 65 days is an automatic approval. However, they had some conversations with adjacent property owner regarding a stormwater pipe through an easement on their site. And they have not made it through the inland wetlands regulatory process yet. So P&Z can't act until wetlands takes action. So we're just gonna kick it down the road a little bit longer.
Do we need to vote on that?
You can, yes, a motion to table to the May 18th meeting, since the extension was granted.
Could I have that motion, please?
I'll
Thank you,
provide it.
Michael. Second?
Second.
Second.
I'm not sure who got it first, but thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Table to May 18th. By the way, that's the meeting I'm not going to be here, so John Duza will be chairing. Okay, next
We're
on
gonna
the
pile it
agenda-
up. Unfortunately, no, it's not that bad. I'm
I'm
teasing.
gonna put another one on your plate.
will.
23-11, 206 Boston Post Road. This is a property in the East River section where to
Almost
modify-
across from the car wash by Munger Town.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
West
you're right.
Side. Arts
It's-
Alliance was.
You're right. It's closer.
It's on the
than-
west side. Oh, yeah.
On the south side, but yeah,
South side.
next to the marsh.
Yes. So this is actually an application for special exception and a coastal site plan application. And so that's just a typo. And because of the referral to deep, we needed to push it out to the May meeting, the May 18th meeting for a public hearing. It's essentially all interior renovations, but it's a change of use from all office to a residential unit on the second floor. So that does require a public hearing.
Okay, so could I have a motion that we scheduled public hearing for 23-11, 206 Boston Post Road to May 18th, 2013?
I provide a motion.
Thank you, Michael. Second?
I'll second.
John Morgan, I saw your hand up first. Thanks. Any further discussion? All in
None.
favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay. So we have receipt of 8-24 referrals, which are municipal improvement, the sidewalks. And I think we can vote on this together. Is that right, Erin?
Yes, it's all part of one project. And again, as Carol indicated, you're working under the planning statutes. So it's actually Connecticut General Statutes Section 8-24. And so that's, we commonly refer to them as 824 referrals. But one of your roles as the Planning Commission is to, there are several different municipal improvements or acquisitions of land, sale of property, leases, things of that nature that trigger a referral to the commission from the Board of Selectmen, where you would need to make a finding that it's consistent with the Plan of Conservation and Development. There are provisions if you didn't take action or did not, that the Board of Selectmen, to make their actions. But this particular example is a fairly simple case. The town has worked over the last several years securing grants, grant funding through connectivity grants and transit-oriented district grants to extend a sidewalk, install a sidewalk from Woodland Road, basically at Concord Meadows, which is our 90-unit affordable housing development, heading east on Woodland Road to Durham Road, and then all the way south down Durham to the intersection of Route 1. And then we're also going to have a spur that comes off Bradley Road heading west to the intersection of Academy. So that will tie into some existing sidewalk that's right in front of St. Margaret's. So the project has been fully designed, and during the design phase, and the funding is requiring that the project move forward and be completed by the fall, which we're really excited actually to have the sidewalk project. It's been a long time goal in that area. In doing so, they realized that the right-of-way, due to the width of the right-of-way, there are areas that property owners would either have to grant an easement to the town for the sidewalk to encumber portions of their property, or in this case, the property owners have decided just to give that land to the town to extend, to widen the right-of-way in that particular area. In the case of the Essex Bank property, that is right in the front of, and I can show you the map quickly so you can just kind of see what's happening here. This is Essex Savings Bank here, Woodland Road, and the intersection is here, and this is Durham Road, and north is where the off-ramp to 95 is right up here. So the area actually where the sidewalk will come is this little shaded piece is what the town is acquiring. And unfortunately, the lot happens to be undersized. So in doing this, the applicant needed to apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance for increasing the nonconformity of their lot area. But the Zoning Board of Appeals did grant that variance, and so they were successful. And now we're looking to actually make the transfer of land. So all the legal documents are in place for the sidewalk. The second property was a little simpler, and this is, again, this is on the southwest corner of Bradley Road and Durham Road. The Verizon and Webster Bank is over here across the street. This is a dentist office, which is right next door to St. Margaret's Church.
Okay, yeah, I know where that is.
This little triangle is the other piece that the town, the sidewalk is coming on this south side of Bradley Road. And this little piece is what's being transferred to the town to widen the right-of-way there. So the entire project will then occur within town and state right-of-way, because Route 79 is, of course, a state road. So that's really the scope of the project. And the commission, you can see that the acquisition of this land helps create our sidewalks, and in our plan of conservation and development, our downtown area is clearly identified as an area where we would want to increase pedestrian accessibility, especially in our transit-oriented district. And having a development such as Concord Meadows and being able to link that area to our senior center and our transit and our downtown shopping is really a great thing. And so these residents won't have to be walking on that shoulder of 79 moving forward. Any questions on the project?
Mm-mm.
The entire project, just for reference, is going to cost between $700,000 and $800,000, and we've secured grant funding successfully, so that it will cost the town about $100,000.
That's great.
That does include acquisition and construction costs.
That's the entire cost of the project,
Okay.
yes.
And Aaron, how-
Aside from legal fees, there aren't purchasing. I don't believe there are purchasing fees. This is something that the property owners are giving to the town.
How does this project relate to the Bike and Pedestrian Committee or Committee, I guess it is?
It's not a part, it actually was initiated by town staff. It's, they're in favor, clearly very supportive.
Good.
As one of their goals. It's the sidewalk itself is a 5-foot ADA accessible sidewalk with crosswalks. It's not a bike lane as you would see on the Shoreline Greenway Trail. The town is looking to endeavor on a full town-wide bike pedestrian plan over the next year in coordination with our regional council of governments. And so once we have that master plan, then we can look at other options such as a bike lane in the actual right of way there, but this is simply pedestrian access for this route.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions? And we have a good draft resolution offered. It's not too long. Can we read it? Or
Sure,
should we
it's pretty simple.
vote? Would someone like to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, John. Do you want to read that paragraph?
Voted that the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approve in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes 8-24, acquisition of 700 square feet of Essex Savings Bank property located on 99 Durham Road, and acquisition of 336 square feet of 25 Durham Road Associates LLC located on 25 Durham Road for the construction of the Woodland Road, Bradley Road, and Durham Road State Route 79 sidewalk project. This acquisition of property is consistent with the plan of conservation and development for the town of Madison, as a project encourages pedestrian connectivity within the downtown center area.
Thank you. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
We're always racing.
I'm going to give it to Bob Reinhardt this time.
That's fine.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Looking forward to
Just
getting
for
the sidewalks
your-
finished.
Yeah, for your reference,
yeah.
from this point now that you've approved, or had favorable recommendation for the 824, staff sends a memo to the Board of Selectmen, and they'll now move that in accordance with the charter to a public hearing for the actual acquisition. So
Got it. Thanks.
one rung on the ladder to get us closer. So thank you.
And we don't need to be there.
Nope.
Great. Okay. So next agenda item is the approval of minutes. John Duza.
Sure. April 6, 2023 meeting. Members present were Snow, Duza, O'Connor, Morgan, Reinhardt, Peckinpah, and Bugda. Is there a motion to approve?
I approve.
can't say. Okay. Second,
Actually, John, I wanted to I don't know. Do I make a comment now or after we second?
the next question is any corrections or edits?
Thank you. I was wondering, I think Elliot resigned. I know he submitted his resignation on April 4th, so I didn't know if he should be listed as absent or Aaron, I don't know, just sort of a little gray area there.
I believe that was, what was the date that the Board of Select, I thought it was effective April 5th.
That was my question actually, is when did the Board of Selectmen
I mean,
approve?
April 4th, but they just voted on it on this last one on Monday, Tuesday, whenever.
Yeah,
it was.
but he had an effective date in his letter, I believe, that it was the next day. So I think he was off the commission prior to this.
So we might want to make that.
So
edit.
we can, yeah, we'll just,
So he was listed as absent, but he should not have been. Got it.
Because he was truly absent.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Vote to approve with that correction. Aye. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, remarks. Erin, you slipped in the draft.
I did, just in case you wanted to take a look, so we can explain a little bit of what this grant application is that the town is partnering with the River Valley Transit District. It used to be Estuary Transit District, and now that they've acquired others, they've merged with Ninetown, and so their new name is River Valley Transit. And there are a regional transit district that the town is considering becoming part of, that would allow for greater public transportation within our community. One of the, we do currently have a transportation survey out. I don't know if anybody has seen it or taken it. It was basically to get a little feedback from residents to see, what do you know about our existing public transportation bus line specifically, and would you have an interest in using it or need to use that in the future? And if so, what kinds of services would you be looking for? Micro transit is a new concept, really fairly recent in the state, that is similar to an Uber type public transportation in an Uber fashion, I guess. They're smaller bus services. Estuary Transit, they currently have a program out of Old Saybrook where they're running this very successfully. They have another pilot program up by Wesleyan University, also for students. And the state has announced funding opportunities for a 2-year pilot program for a micro transit program. And they already have, River Valley already has all of the software, the apps, the buses, everything all ready to go. And so we decided to go forward with an application and partnering with SCROG, our Regional Council of Governments, and expanding to include Guilford as well. And what that would mean is we're requesting funding to have 4 buses. They're smaller buses available through entire Madison and entirely Guilford. And it's on-demand service through an app or phone call. Each ride is $1.75, but to greatly, expand our availability for public transportation to our residents, our younger residents, our older residents. Currently, our senior services are limited to seniors or those with disabilities. So they can't pick up anyone who doesn't qualify under those requirements. So this would be a nice opportunity, if you're in North Madison and you need to ride downtown, or ride into Guilford for an appointment or to shop, or to the train station. This could really open up some new opportunities. So that being said, we've just kind of compiled this application over the last few weeks. It is due right now, it's due next Friday. River Valley Transit is handling all of the actual grant application process, and the municipalities, we've been charged with building support and and providing letters of support, which is typical in most grant applications. So various boards and commissions and our economic development coordinator, our Chamber of Commerce, our first select woman, as well as our state rep and senator will be providing letters of recommendation. So I had given Carol the information, and she kindly drafted a letter for all of you to review if you're comfortable submitting that to attach to the grant application. It could be a neat program that we bring into town.
We put it together this morning so we could check it out tonight. And unless there are any problems with it, that way it goes off next week with a packet.
I like the letter, especially your historical
Okay.
reference to begin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keith Guilford, I'm sure Guilford will
That's a big one.
appreciate that too.
Yeah, I have a habit of starting off with historically.
I thought it was very good.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
good.
Okay, great. Then I think we can send it off, Aaron. I went ahead and signed and scanned it and sent it in just so it would be ready to go. So thank you all.
Good. And you're the first one to complete your letter of support, so it will be shared as a template for others. So that's nice. Thank you. And
we
we'll
have to
keep you
make a
updated as to whether or not we get the funding.
It would be great to have that option.
Yeah. That could be
Do we
fun.
have to make a motion before you send it or no?
No, we just wanted to talk about it and make sure you were all.
And
on the
edit
same-
as needed.
Yeah, yeah, if anybody had anything else you wanted to, it's always nice to throw in the plan of conservation and development, how, oftentimes grants, they want to know that it's consistent. This one is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Because public transportation is always a desire.
But
Yeah.
I really like the way it's sort of a substitute for Uber, and $1.75, can't beat that. And
Yeah.
if I had kids in town, I would be putting them on it all the time.
Well, and the River Valley came up with the cost. That's the cost to ride the bus. And you had to set a fee, basically. And that's what they just decided, we'll just keep it the same as our bus line. So it's a really good deal. And it can be done, you can either stack money on an app, or you can accept cash on the bus also. So
And just hop on if you see it too. Is that right?
yeah, I mean, and the point of the pilot, I think, is to kind of see how it's going to work. The goal isn't to have 40-minute wait times in between places, but it'll give us a sense of seeing who's using it, where are they going, and really kind of then develop a plan that the town can adopt moving forward. So it may get adjusted over those 2 years.
I think they tried something like that, and something is going on like that in Old Saybrook. the train
Exactly.
station.
Yes, it's
And it's
downtown.
great for workers who were living, in Norwich and places like that. They were coming in really early in the morning and didn't have a ride to where they were working,
Right.
and it worked really
That's
well.
why they called it the extra mile. So
Yeah.
it was like the goal, the program was to get them just that last leg from
Yeah.
the train station or for where the bus dropped off. And their goal in Old Saybrook, I think, is not to wait more than 15 minutes. So they really
Correct.
set a boundary.
Right.
This
They
one
had
is
to
going to
get there.
be, this one is going to be a little different, trying to incorporate two towns and see how it works. So,
No, I think it's a great
Very
idea.
nice.
yeah, I think it
Very
is.
nice.
Yeah.
So
Great.
that's, I
Anything
don't
else?
have anything else other than that. No.
Works? Anyone else?
Did I? Oh, actually I did. I just wanted to let you know that the strategic plan, I know we didn't, I did receive a suggestion for a survey question from Bob O'Connor. I know he's not here this evening. Hearing from the strategic plan consultant, they're looking to release a survey in the beginning of May, which doesn't work with our meeting schedule, waiting till our next plan of conservation and development meeting. So I talked to John and Carol, and I think what we might do is just, if you have specific something that you're looking for that would help determine a big goal, or just a thought that we can kind of structure into a question, please send it along, and we'll try to formulate that and incorporate some of this language into a survey so that we're not being redundant. I'm happy to send you some ideas that we have, and I will do that over the next couple of days to get you something, and then just some general questions that the strategic plan group is narrowing down. Some of them I think are relevant to what information we're looking for as well. So I think it will be helpful for both groups. But just look to see that email at some point over the next week. And if you can give me a quick, yes, this is good, this is that, can we add something about this? That would be helpful.
Okay.
We'll have more opportunities for public outreach, and we can talk about that at our next meeting, because they'll be having specific focus groups, which are in-person conversation meetings and a visioning session. And so that we have more time to come up with a little more structured questions. This is really, do any multiple choice, any ranking kind of questions that you think of that might be helpful to get our hands around, where, I don't know, take the temperature of the community, I guess, a little bit moving forward.
Sounds good. Great. Anything else?
Nope.
Could I have a motion to adjourn at 8:01 PM? Michael Bugda,
Motion.
Good timing.
Don Morgan.
Motion.
All in favor.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you all. Have a
everybody.
good night.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
everyone.
night. Bye-bye.
Bye.